Hi everybody, I'm Bob Marone and I'm here on behalf of the Yonkers Voice. Many of you read that publication on all of its various outlets. We're here to have a conversation with Nutsa. She is, as you know, a star of American Idol, a singer, just a tremendous talent. Before we get to her, I'd like to thank the people at the Yonkers Public Library. In fact, we are here at their venue at the library down by the shore. And so let's get right to business. Nutsa, welcome to this program.
Thank you so much for inviting
me. We did a little bit of homework. We checked you out on the we went to the web. We Googled you. Such an extraordinary talent. First, before we get rolling, tell people about your background. Where are you from?
First of all, thanks for inviting. And I'm from Georgia, the country, not the state.
Oh, you're not from Atlanta?
No, as you can tell from my accent.
I bought peaches.
Really? As you can tell from my accent, I am from the country of Georgia. And I grew up in Georgia and I started singing when I was 1 year old. So like all my life, I sing.
Excuse me, one?
One, yeah, I couldn't even talk when I started singing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what words did you sing or did you just?
Like it was a melody of a lullaby that my mother was singing for me. Yes. So by that time, my mother knew that I would be a singer. So it's something like she always felt when I was a kid that it's something that is gifted, and because like I was always singing at home, and I grew up in Georgia, and I've been
in Georgia.
In Georgia, and also outside of Georgia, in Europe.
Now, a lot of people, if they may be, after seeing you, you're obviously very appealing, nice to look at.
Thank you so much.
And they're going to go to Google, and they're going to see that you've also spent some time in Dubai.
Right.
How did you get to Dubai? And then we'll go back a little bit to your talent.
So, Dubai, my best friend is living in Dubai. But Dubai is like very close to Georgia. It's like 3-hour flight. And my best friend is living there, and I was always visiting Dubai, but only for a holiday purpose, like 5-6 days maximum. I was visiting maybe 3 times in a year or something like this. One time, by the way, I flew from New York to Dubai to be a bridesmaid for my best friend's wedding.
Of course.
So of course I sing for my best friend, right? I'm singing for my best friend, and someone noticed me from the theater of Dubai. The theater of Dubai is like the best place that you can go, have fun, and watch the show, watch the performances. Like it's really the best place there. And they invited me to work after that performance in that wedding.
At that theater?
Yeah.
Okay.
They invited me, like they give me the contract for 1 year or 2 years. Like they were like, however you like you stay and you just be with us, because it was such a friendly environment for me to work. And I also wanted to like live in Dubai. Why not? Like to see the new city. How am I gonna adapt, to this new culture also that I really loved. And living in Dubai, I decided that now I want to live in US.
Well, so now how long were you in Dubai?
I was living in Dubai for a year.
Okay, okay. So from Georgia to Dubai, we're going to reel back the camera just a bit. So 1 year old, you're humming in your bassinet or your cradle, and your parents realize you can sing.
Right.
When did it start to blossom? When did you feel, hey, this is really something special? Or when did your parents think that?
My parents think about that when I was 6.
Only 6?
Yes, because I was giving them shows at home.
When you were giving them shows?
I was giving shows with costumes and with dancing and with singing. Like it was just so natural that my mom was like, okay, like I know that she's gonna be someone. So I also was in that role, and I was saying that the crazy thing is that since I was 6 or 7 years old, I was saying that I'm a Hollywood star. So by that time, in small town, I was
So that was your
saying,
fantasy.
That was my
time.
fantasy.
Okay, and that was your dream.
Yeah.
Now, it's one thing to have the dream. It's another to know you can sing a little bit. How did it evolve that, hey, I can do this for a living, other people noticed it, and you started on your journey?
I was 13 years old.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's young.
I was, because that was, when I was 13, I went to Georgia's Got Talent, and I was finalist there. So I was very young. But I realized when I was on that big stage, I realized that this is what I want to be doing all of my life.
And you don't seem to even have any doubts about it.
No, never had.
Okay, so now you can sing. Who notices you first? Who says, I'm going to hire her? And when did you finally get an agent?
Well, agent, I just got now after American Idol, but before that, like, I was kind of like always on my own and striving for everything, like, on my own. But, like, of course, my friends were always helping me in some periods of time if I needed. But, like, I didn't have, like, a contract with a company or with someone particular. But there was one studio that I went in when I was 14 years old. It's called Georgian Dream Studio. So it was basically like a school for talented people. Like they gathered like 14 talented people all around the country, and they were giving us free school. So it was, and this guy, his name is Bera, is very, very famous rapper from Georgia. He discovered there my talent, and he said to me that I've never seen anyone perform live like you, never in my life, he said.
That's
and I was
quite a
14 years
statement.
old.
You were 14 at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And again, I want to remind people, we're talking with Nutsa. She is, or again, pronounce that one more time.
Nutsa.
Nutsa, I had that right. We're
You
talking
had
with
that right.
Nutsa. It's a name you will get to know. She's extraordinarily talented, did very, very well on America's Got Talent. And look out for her. Google her now. You will be amazed at what she can do. Now, back to you. Still, I have this little vacuum that I can't fill. Where you're 13, you have skill. How do you wind up on America's Got Talent? That's a rough road.
American Idol.
I'm sorry, American Idol.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was trying for American Idol for 8 years.
How do you do it?
I was trying for 8 years.
But what do you do? I mean, do you send them a recording?
Yeah, I was sending them my recordings and everything, what I could for 8 years, and it didn't work out. Then when I was in Dubai, I decided, oh, let me find a casting director for American Idol, and I found her. And then I directly texted her, and I'm like, now I'm living here, here's my story, here's what I've done in my life. And it was quite impressive for her as well. And she was like, oh, let me have an audition with you. So she liked me on that audition. I was like crying. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. But then she was like, I'm going to tell the producers, but I don't know how it is, like, you are from another country. So, like, it's not allowed on American Idol. On America's Got Talent, I think it's allowed, but
Yeah.
on American Idol, I was the first one that they allowed to participate from another country.
Now, is this when you moved to the U.S., or were you planning to do that anyway?
Yeah, I was still living in Dubai when I did the online auditions, and then when I got accepted, that's when I decided, okay, I'm moving to U.S. That's the sign. That's it. So that's the story.
Okay, so you're in the U.S., they accept it. I have a couple of questions for you. You're a very young woman, and I've always wondered for people who were headed in the direction that you are, which is probably international stardom. Are you lonely?
Well, sometimes.
I would think, because you went from your hometown, forgive me for interrupting you, you went from your hometown, your parents, to Dubai, now to the U.S.
Well, in U.S., I don't really feel lonely because I didn't really have time to like sit there and like, you know. But in Dubai, I was definitely feeling lonely, definitely, because there was not so much to do work-wise. And also I was missing my family because it was my first time moving out from Dubai. So it was kind of hard period for me, like first 3 months, but then I got used to it.
Yeah, well, you know why I asked that? People watching this and people who observe talent and skills like your own emerge, I don't think they realize the sacrifices that are involved.
It's
because
big sacrifice.
talent alone doesn't do it. It's hard work.
It's really hard.
Now, let's get to how you use your talent. Do you have a vocal coach? How often do you practice when you're not singing? And then do you see yourself as a stage star, a recording star, all of the above? Where are you headed?
I definitely see myself as a stage star. I feel that live performance is what I do the best. Recording artist, of course, like I need to have hit songs and I need to have singles and album and all of this stuff. I have already, but like I mean in US. But definitely when I sing live, it's different. It's something that I cannot explain. It's like I go into another world once I'm performing live. It's different feeling. So definitely that's the dream.
I thoroughly understand that. You know, in most, I want to call them programs or philosophies that help people get where they're going. They call this thing self-actualization, where you're at one with what you're doing. Athletes do it, and it seems that you're able to do that pretty easily.
Thank you.
What kinds of music, how would you describe the music that you do?
The music that I do and music that I love to perform is pop and R&B. I love it, but it doesn't mean that I cannot sing jazz and rock. I love both of them, but like my style, what I have now is pop and R&B. But I feel that I can do musicals as well. Like I wanna challenge myself doing all of this once I have like my niche in US.
Now, can you read music and do you write your own songs at all?
Yes, I do write my own songs. I was also studying in Conservatory of Music in my country.
See, now we're getting to some
Yeah. Right, and I don't know, I love to write my own music.
You do? Have you published any of that yet, or do
Yes.
you intend to? Oh,
Yes,
that's wonderful.
I did, and also we had live performance of my song on Fox 5. It was 2 days ago on
Yes.
Good Day New York. We did there my song.
I did my homework. All right, where do you see yourself going? What's next? You're here, your agent's here, we'll be talking with him in a little while. Very successful local guy. Well, he started out here, now he's world famous. What's next for you?
Grammys and Billboard. That's what I have on my wish list, and whatever I had so far on my wish list, everything came true. So I don't think that it's something impossible. It's just motivation and something that you can really do.
Okay. Do you have
Yeah.
anything coming up that you'd like people to know about? Do you have any events?
Yes.
Talk to us.
Yes, we have different meetings with really good brands about my clothing line and also about my fragrance line. And also we're thinking to have like a jewelry line as well.
So you have those lines. Now, I mentioned your
I
skirt.
don't have yet. I mean,
Okay,
we are.
because I love that. It's
The
got
skirt.
folks. It's got all little robots on it.
Thanks. I mean,
And
I really
it looks like a
love
Hermes
fashion.
tie that's been expanded. It's wonderful. actually. Very, very tasteful. Very
Thank
nice.
you. Thanks
I was
so
hoping
much.
that was part of your.
Not yet. I mean, we are having meetings about it, but hopefully soon we're gonna have all of it.
One last thing. It's just one of these things where I like to know how things work. What do you do to protect your voice? Which, by the way, folks, is songbird-like.
It's very hard. I don't really drink too much alcohol. I try to sleep 8 hours minimum. I like to sleep a lot. I think sleeping helps my voice the most, especially when I'm traveling and I have jet lag all the time. It's really important for me to have a good sleep. To have also, when I am working out, it really helps my voice.
Now, how can you sing in the morning, early in the
Yes.
morning? Because, you know, there's this famous radio show here in the States. I'm sure you know Howard Stern. He has a lot of great performers on in the morning, from Billy Joel to, well, to all of them. And the show starts at 6 in the morning, and he has a studio there. And he'll say, can you do this song? No, it has too high a note for me to go at this time in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard. Like I cannot sing every day, but when it's like a good morning show and you have to do it for one time, I mean, I push myself and I sing. But it's not good. Like you have to wake up, and then after 2 hours, your voice wakes up.
Okay, well, that's explaining. Once Billy Joel was like, no, I can't do that. It's too early. All righty, I'd like to sit down, and we'll take a quick break in a moment, folks. But what I would like to do is ask one last question. How do you feel about your career? How does it feel to be you right now?
It's really motivating me, especially now as I have an agent. It's really something that I wanted all of my life, to have a good agent. So I feel that it's not only me who want it so bad, but also my agent.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's-
it helps to have someone who can clear a path for you. There's no question about it. You certainly have the talent. I've watched you. You look great. And we
Thank
don't like to get overly, what's the right word? A lot more commentary about that in this day and age, but folks, you will like watching her sing as well. She's just amazing.
Thank you so
I want to thank you for this time.
Thank you so
And
much.
in a few minutes, we'll talk with your agent.
Yes.
Folks, Bob Marone, we're going to, no break, we'll go straight to it. All right, come on in. Slide over.
Hey, Darren.
In the immortal words of a great former sitcom guy, Ed Norton from The Honeymooners, this is coming to you live, not on tape. And again, please tell us the name of your company.
Prince Marketing Group.
Okay, okay. Darren Prince is his name, and as you can see, Darren has named his company the Prince Marketing Group. Now, if you don't know who Darren Prince is, he has an amazing roster, stable, if you will, of clients. For those of you who are basketball fans, one of the first things you ever see is Magic Johnson, one of my favorite players, but many, many, many more. He hails from the tri-state area out of Livingston, New Jersey. He started out here in this region, and he has built quite a reputation. Darren, thanks for sharing this.
Thanks for having me.
How did you find this woman?
On Instagram.
You're serious?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what happened. It's the craziest story. We were talking on the way up. I haven't watched American Idol in probably 10, 12 years. I'm flipping the channels one night, and I said, I saw her walk in the doors after Ryan Seacrest opened it with her energy. You know, you could just see she just had this fire to her look. She did one song, Lady Marmalade, is that what it was? And I mean, the ceiling almost erupted in front of Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and McBride, and then Katy asked her to kind of totally change it up and dial it down, which was, I mean, what song was that? Was it Whitney?
It was Greatest Love of All.
Greatest Song, yeah. And then when Luke Bryan called her and said, "You're the J-Lo from Georgia," I was like,
I like
how do
that,
you
the
find?
J-Lo.
I'm like, how do I find this girl? Because I'm marketing, I'm going crazy over that name. And sure enough, we got to thank them, because in the corner of the TV screen they put her Instagram
No, it was,
handle.
okay.
And this is back in February, I think, when not anybody could just buy your verified blue check mark, which I guess means so much to people, and I've been verified for years. And what you get with that is you get right into somebody's DM a lot quicker because it's verified instead of going into the spam. And she messaged me back like an hour later. I was like, I'm a big fan, haven't watched the show in years, I'm rooting for you.
Now, pardon me, Darren, this is your living. This is important to you. I looked at, our colleague Richard really prepared me for this. You have a roster of amazing, very well-known clients. When you take someone on, that's a financial risk, it's an investment. To target her so soon off an Instagram, that says a lot. It says an awful lot. What did you see? We all know people in this world that have talent, but to think that you're going to be able to use that, to apply that talent to a career, what about her did that?
I did some research on her too and found out that she's already established overseas. She has a fantastic career. And the judges' reaction, I mean, to see Lionel and Katy and Luke, I'm not, as she knows, I'm not per se like a music manager, but I'm a marketing guy, and I know where there's talent. And my head just started spinning with all the branding opportunities and social media, branding opportunities, and my clients that I know that would adore her. And my whole career has been about, I'd say, leveraging. I can get through any door, it doesn't matter who.
No, I know, but you need to know you've got the product, though.
Yeah.
At some point in time, if the product isn't that, I hate to refer to you in the abstract.
Well, we said that on the way up too, that you still have to have, the connections are everything, but I need to have something that, and it's also, now that I got to know her and we're so close, knowing the type of person she is makes it so much more exciting and passionate.
It does.
Just to know, like, her heart, her work ethic. It's almost like all I got to do is make some introductions, and I could just sit back and smile because I know she's going to kill it. And she's
That
gonna
makes a
make
lot
me
of
look
sense,
good,
because the mix, even just meeting her today, that I find. The drive is there, the talent is there, but there's a kindness and an emotive part of her when she talks about her family. That's why I asked if she felt alone sometimes pursuing her career.
No, and we connected too because I saw that she followed Jay Shetty on Instagram. That was another reason. Jay's a very dear friend of mine. I've been on his podcast. And so that lets me know, okay, this is somebody that's about, you know, whether it's self-improvement or spirituality or living in the moment, everything that Jay preaches. So there was like 4 or 5 variables, and I was just like, I have to meet her.
It's amazing. Now, bear with me, Nutsa, because I'm going to ask him a question that's going to sound like you're a product, okay? So you got to deal with this
That's
just
the
for a moment.
truth. I mean, so.
The packaging is terrific. The talent is there, the kindness, the warmth, which you can't invent. What do you see her doing? What will you market the most? What will you show people about her that you think is the most provocative?
Well, on the music side, we're just going to line her up with the best producers, you know, labels, touring, collaborations. So that's kind of like out of my hands, but I know every single human
Gotcha.
out there in the industry to make that happen. For me, it's about, like I said, what we were up here with Rich on the drive up, and there's just no 26-year-olds in America with the mindset that this girl has, what she's been through, to stay in that moment, to persevere,
Absolutely.
to have integrity and, you know, certain values that just don't exist in this country right now, where there's so many parents that are worried about their kids and the things that they're doing, and looking at these short-term, you know, I call it, it's like the short-term money grabs. It's like a short-term gain for a lifetime of pain, things that this culture is doing, and just thinking overnight you can make that type of money become a big success.
Absolutely.
And she's been grinding it out already half her life.
Well
You
said.
know, and I think once that story gets told, to me as a marketing agent, the brands are just gonna, I mean, she's right up their alley.
You know, her CV or resume should look interesting. When did your career begin? Age 1. I guess that's a kick out of that. I had another question. It does have to do with her talent. You know, when Richard told me about her and I checked her out, I can't remember the name of it. It was a cover that you did, and I was listening to it. It wasn't a belt out song. It was a cover, mid-range, and you captured, it was velvety. And it had power, and it was songbird-like. Do you have a preference? Would you rather belt out a song? Would you rather just ease into it as people do in jazz? What?
I would like to do both.
Because I can't. I wish I could remember the name of the cover. I really
Maybe
do.
crib.
Pardon?
Crib.
Yes. All right. It was amazing. And
I love when I start like from here, then I go here, and then I go here.
well, yeah. Well, you were there, but then you brought it down here in a few places, and a lot of singers can't do that, as you know. And to arrive at both places, you obviously saw that, or at least the pros will. So where does she go from here? What more can you say to impress me any further? And again, I've been weaselly with words. You're a beautiful woman. I've been trying to say, well, she's all right. She's nice to look at. Let me just come clean. And you know what? That does not define you. It's all this thing.
It helps.
Okay, well, it helps because you know.
Unfortunately,
It's
what
real.
helps.
No, it's real.
But it's what comes out of
No,
here,
but it's-
and it's in what's here.
No, but she's got this thing
Yeah.
that comes out of her heart
Yeah,
that I
that's why I
catch.
said it.
And her eyes sparkle.
And up here, yeah. And like I said, that spirituality to me is just to be like on that beam, you know. I just celebrated 15 years sober on July 2nd.
Congratulations.
And my life is about my Aiming High Foundation and raising money and helping get people into treatment, because here I was on top of the world and as broken of a soul as you could ever imagine.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to. You know, one of the things that Richard told me about you was your battle with that. And I was very impressed because, as you know, I also do some PR work for a firm that helps people with that. That's a tough road to go. Now, you were already successful when you got into this problem.
Big time. Next level of success, yeah, the top of the top.
Top of the toppermost, as the Beatles used to say. And drugs, alcohol, the
Yeah,
whole
just
nine yards.
opiates. The last, probably the last maybe years, I would say, were opiates. When I was 24 and I started my agency, and Magic Johnson became my first client, I knew because of morality clauses I had to stop the illegal drugs. So it was just all about Oxycontins, Vicodins, Percocets from doctors
Of course.
that were mesmerized at my life. And I says, God can't have a problem. He's got real sciatica. He's got real pain. And that's how it started. And I'm careful when I speak to kids because they're the groups that pick up on everything. That I say for
Oh, they have a great BS meter.
yeah, probably for 5 or 6 years I was living to use. But then I don't know the moment it changed. It got to a point where I was using to live.
Oh, sure.
And I was a rock star the first 5, 6 years in the business. I mean, it was, you know, Ali, Frazier, Pamela Anderson, Chevy Chase, Dennis Rodman,
I saw all that.
Kobe Bryant. I mean, it was just everybody and anybody. And it turned like anything else. And my superpowers were gone. And now these pills became like my kryptonite.
Did you lose family, friends, temporarily?
No,
during
and
that
I
time?
tell people I was a very high bottom because I had the success, I had the money, I had the clients, I had the cars, the woman, like everything that comes along with the life that everybody wants. So even I was married the last couple of years and a year and a half into my recovery, and you would have thought again from the outset I had it all, but what I did lose is something that I think most high bottoms understand, is I lost sense of self.
Oh, God,
I lost
yes.
my peace. I lost my sanity. I lost my freedom. I was in my own prison every single day, going to bed at night, literally praying not to wake up for the last 2 years, and making sure my life insurance, my assets, everything was lined up. And yeah, it just got to a point where I was just done. And,
You have
and
children?
then the miracle happened on July 2nd,
I'm
2008.
going to ask you about that, but first, do you have children? Do you have any kids?
No.
Okay, well, that's one good. But how, I can tell that you were at rock bottom at this point. What happened on July 2nd?
So it was actually July 1st. My uncle, who's since passed away, was visiting my mom in New Jersey, and he was dating this girl, Andrea, and they paid a surprise visit to my condo. And Steve Simon, who's run my agency for 20 plus years now, I go back with him since I was 10. We knew there was, you know, it was either rehab, but we had this plan to, I think I was gonna go check into a spa. Brilliant. And I thought the spa was gonna kind of get me detoxed. And she walked in with my uncle, I never met her before, and said, is everything okay? And there was just something different about this person at this time, at that moment in my life, because I told her everything. And never happened before. Full transparency, vulnerability. And she's like, she goes, do you realize you're an addict, that your life's unmanageable? And I'm saying, yeah. And she's like, do you realize that you're powerless and you have a disease? I said, yeah. And she goes, most importantly, she starts pointing around to all the most iconic photos with the biggest stars of the past 100 years. And she goes, do you realize none of this means anything? Because you don't mean anything to yourself. And that broke my soul. And I started crying. And I said, yeah. And she goes, you want to do anything it takes because I could help you. She goes into her pocket. She pulls out a 5-year sober coin. She said, I just celebrated 5 years last week. And it was my first, I think, reconnection with God in that moment. And I felt like I need to do this. And she put me on a detox plan. The next day, July 2nd, 7 p.m. at night. I came back from the gym, I was detoxing, it was horrific. I was on Suboxone and mood stabilizers and
Yeah, they have all
antidepressants
that,
and
yeah.
anxiety pills. And in hindsight, I should have probably gone to a treatment center and called them up. I said, I can't do this. I need to call the freaking doctor. I got to get what I really need to get. And my uncle starts yelling, it's the goddamn disease talking. You got to put your ego aside. You got to go find a 12-step meeting and put your hands up and tell these people you're sick and you're suffering. And I said, I'm not freaking doing it. I've been to those stupid meetings. I can't identify with these people that don't have the life that I have. And I hung up the phone, ran to the bathroom, and was looking for some non-narcotic anxiety pills. And out came 2 extra strength Vicodins, which was bizarre because me and Simone, my ex-wife, knew that we cleaned out every medicine cabinet. So how did these 2 opiates wind up there? And for a split second, it was exactly what I needed. And I was relieved, thank God. It's been almost 24 hours. And I guess God and I had another plan, because I fell on my knees for the first time in my life. And my exact words were, take the money, take the business, take the notoriety. I need a single day of freedom. That if you could take me out of hell, I promise you I will spend one day at a time the rest of my life taking others out with me. And I never had a white light moment before. I never had one since. But this shoulder caught fire. And in this year, I'm deaf on my left. I have a cochlear device now. I heard a voice as loud as can be that said, I've got you when you're ready. And I stood up, and it wasn't me. And this hand, I believe he opened it, flushed the opiates, wound up in the living room. There was no Uber back then. I found a meeting online. I was in a taxi cab on this gorgeous summer night of July 2nd, 2008, looking up at this guy saying, oh my God, for the first time in my life, I wanted to stay sober, but I wanted to get high. And I walked into this church basement, 150, 200 addicts and alcoholics. And the leader said, is anybody new coming back or struggling? And he was in that church basement with me, because his hand went right up. I said, I'm Darren, I'm sick, I'm suffering, I'm suicidal. I need your guys' help. And it was in that moment that I realized everything was, that ego had to be destroyed, because that's what wasn't allowing me to get through the vulnerability, the accountability, the transparency. And it was such a relief to put my hand up and to do it in front of a room full of 150 and 200 strangers, knowing the life that I had outside this room. And probably a dozen of them came over to me and showed me love and support. And they said things to me like, stick with the winners. Don't worry about if you don't get the program. If you keep showing up, the program's gonna get you. And they said, you gotta put the 5 A's into your heart and your soul, which were attitude, adjustment, accountability, action, and acceptance. And those 5 A's go for anybody in life. And I did that. And then they said something that just blew me away, which was about loving myself, that they will love me before I ever learn how to love myself. And that 1 hour in that meeting made me feel more a part of in my entire life, more than Magic Johnson, Hulk Hogan, Muhammad Ali, Pamela Anderson, my friends in high school, my friends in junior high, my own family. I felt like they were telling my story. And to have that connection to these spiritual brothers and sisters, I think I became like addicted to the meetings and the fellowship and the healing. Because once you get, anybody listening that's struggling, once you get to the point of understanding you can't drink or do drugs one day at a time, because it's a living in the moment, one day at a time program, then you still want that spiritual life. Because what's the point of getting sober if you can't enjoy life? So now I'm always about saying what I mean what I say, and not saying I mean. I want to try to understand people instead of my ego being understood. Next time you can get in an argument, brother, sister, whoever it might be, significant other, don't open up your mouth, don't send that text, don't send that nasty email. Stay in a place of feeling all right rather than right. Because in 5 minutes, you're not going to understand why you opened up your big fat mouth. The best thing to do is be of service to somebody else. And for me, a lot of times it's people in recovery, and it's just a lot of people that are struggling in life. And those simple tactics have given me a lifetime of wildest dreams.
Wow. Darren, and when you prepare to do talk radio or television, they really get on you to not interrupt someone. The last 6, 7 minutes, whatever it is, I had not one inclination to want to interrupt what you said. It's that compelling, and even it's obvious.
Oh, God comes into my
No,
heart.
I'm just telling you. It's the easiest time I've ever had keeping my trap shut. How much has this affected your work? And you can see it in your face, you get tears in your eyes. How much has this affected your work and how you do it?
It's back in the day, I think it affected more the people around me. oddly enough, I don't think it affected the business. And now, the love and the admiration, you know, and the respect that I have for my clients, significant others, other power agents, super agents in the business, you know, team owners. Mark Cuban endorsed my book, Genie Boss.
Because you're in a tough business.
It is, I mean, Magic said it best. He's like, you know, you took your platform and you made it your purpose, and you never wanted the fame that all of us had. I always knew that you wanted to escape it. Like, this, I mean, when I'm out with Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, it is just, it's bigger than the president, you know, and I've always liked to kind of sit back. But Magic said it because your plan was you were going to become a celebrity in the world of mental health and recovery.
Well, that's a good thing. That is a wonderful thing, and a wonderful thing to do with your life, and as an adjunct to this. I have to ask this because I've interviewed both of you. Does it affect the kind of clients you take on? Like the sincerity that this woman has? Yes.
She had I had a connection about spirituality in my journey, I think, pretty much right away. You know, like I just said, I love her as a human being, just in general. And you know, I told her in early May when we met at the W Hotel, like, the money's secondary, the career's going to happen for me. I need to be around the right people, you know, that elevate me, that I elevate them. They make me look good, I make them look good, that are on that path of, you know, staying in that moment, don't project too much.
You know, can I market you for a minute? Something just hit me. You're able, I think, now to give clients something that a lot of wonderful people we know about didn't have. Whether it be Presley, whether it be Michael Jackson.
All of them, Whitney Houston.
Yes. Which is that this is going to be fun, and you're going to make a lot of money, and you're going to be fulfilled in that way. But it's not the most important thing. You can really help people, and I'm not just saying this for business's sake, Lord knows, you can really help people not get in that trap.
I do it as much as I can. You know,
Yeah,
I wrote a book in 2018, Aiming High, became a bestseller in 4 countries. I've probably done 250 speaking engagements in the past 4 years. I drop everything, but I've been on the biggest platforms on TV because the story is needed, and I try to tell people that are going to be watching because of her that are in their mid-20s that are struggling with that low self-esteem, low self-worth, that social media bullying, or I want what this person has, and believe me, 90% of those people don't have what you think they have. They're miserable themselves. Because that would have been me back in the day. I would have been the guy flashing all the stuff, but deep down inside it was a broken soul.
I understand. 2 more things, and I'm going to give you a chance to ask him a question. The person, the woman who took that coin out of their pocket, do you still know that person? Because that was your moment of clarity, really.
We're still very close. Yeah, it gets me emotional. My uncle passed a year and a half ago. I saw her, Andrea, when I was down in Miami 2 months after he passed. And on my 15th sober birthday, I got my coin in Red Rock in Colorado at a meeting with about 150 spiritual brothers and sisters. And she saw me do my post, and she sends me a text that she's like, I'm sitting here with tears of joy. And I remember telling you when you got 1 year sober, do you believe in miracles? Because you are one.
Wow. Before we wrap up, Nutsa, he's one of the biggest agents on the planet. So, you know, you probably defer to him a little bit. You know, this guy knows
I
what he's
hate
doing.
that, by the way.
I
I get it so much.
I know, but that's why I'm asking. You have my nuclear umbrella protection. Any questions you want to ask him? Because that's quite a story. It absolutely, the Jewish folks have a word for it, kvelling. It brings out that feeling.
Yeah.
Any questions you want to ask him?
Yeah, every time like he tells this kind of story, I want to ask, like, where did you find the strength? That's the question I have all the time.
I think it's a combination of God and my spiritual brothers and sisters. My sober sponsor, who you'll meet one day, is Steve Delaval, has probably 38 years. And that's what this fellowship was about. Back in June 10th, 1935, it originated out of Akron, Ohio, and 100 plus other spiritual 12-step fellowships have been developed, everything from eating to, you name it, gambling, where it's recognizing a certain point of powerlessness and bringing in a spiritual being into your life to understand that, you know, it's prayer, it's working on these defects on a daily basis, and it's getting somebody that can almost mentor you. And I have so many people back in New Jersey that, you know, did that for me. And I learned so many things that about when life was bad, you know, run to a meeting, get that foundation for the day, the same way I work out every day. But when life was good, run and sprint to a meeting, because that allows me to understand that when life is great, like, nobody learns anything about ourselves. It's great when life is great. There's no challenges.
It's almost like we're running so hard in life that there's the synapse, that space between
Yep.
who we really are and what
Yep.
we're affecting.
But I know she's in this place too, and you're older like me to understand this. Like, you actually want to deal with the challenges. You want to embrace the dark. You need to lose. The losses is what defines us.
Oh, boy.
That's what, again, for anybody listening, because I know it's just such a big fan base, embrace the L's. It's you will look back at your life in a very short period of time and say, thankfully that never happened. I wanted that so bad. I remember I cried my eyes out for a week. I was depressed, I was sad, but the doors that get open. But that's also staying in a place of faith.
Very, very, very true. Listen, I know we have to wrap up, but I want you, if you have a foundation or anything that you want to get the word out for, you should, and then where people can see you. We'll start with you.
It's at the aiminghighfoundation.org. It's my 501c3. You can log online. Any donations are greatly appreciated. 100% of the proceeds go to scholarship people struggling with substance abuse and mental health issues.
Say it again.
aiminghighfoundation.org.
Okay. And the name of your company?
Prince Marketing Group.
I have to make him do that. Darren Prince is his full name, but it's Prince Marketing. In fact, go online, check it out. You'll see all his clients. You're probably a fan of one of them. And if you're already not a fan of this young woman, Nutsa, you haven't been watching. Where can we see you right now? People are probably already Googling, but where can they Google you? Where can they get you? Where can they see you?
My Instagram profile is Nutsa Buza.
Say again?
Nutsa Buza.
Okay.
And also they can find the same name and surname on YouTube.
Wow. You know, it's funny. I'm getting a little bit. I didn't know what my involvement was going to be here today, and I came here to learn about the both of you, and I wound up being very moved. I really want to thank you. This has been very special for me, as you probably
Thank you.
can know.
Thank you for having us.
So, Darren Prince, and of course, Nutsa. She says it better. Your accent makes it sound better. Say it your way.
Nutsa.
Nutsa. Please, folks, follow up with this. I want to thank you very much for your time. I'd like to thank the people from Yonkers Voice. And again, I'd especially like to thank the people from the Yonkers Public Library. We appreciate this room. We appreciate your time very much. And that pretty much wraps it up. And if you weren't moved, maybe you weren't listening, but I think you were. Thank you very much.